What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new story. This one's been a long time coming. The idea of BROLY becoming canon and turning good is such a popular idea that, well, we actually saw it happen in canon. And this specific concept has been covered a bunch too, so I want to take a try at it. Specifically, we're looking at BROLY. This scenario is going to focus on him first of all being canon, and also turning good. So, what would happen if BROLY ended up turning good? Let's begin this story. So, I've done a scenario like this with Frieza before, and in my eyes, Frieza's not someone who could just naturally turn good over time. In that scenario, I made it basically like Goku's story where he lost his memory and that's how he became good. Because I don't see him just adjusting to Earth and becoming a good guy. The reason I'm mentioning that is because I view BROLY as the same way. He's pure evil. I don't think he's capable of turning good in the way that, say, Vegeta or Piccolo turn good. Thankfully, we have two really good catalysts for this. And we will have to adjust some things to make this fit in canon, but thankfully this isn't too hard to adjust. BROLY being involved inherently does change the powers of everything else though, so keep that in mind. Our story begins when Goku defeats BROLY in movie 8. He hits BROLY with his final attack, and for BROLY it feels like he's being destroyed from the inside out. But there is a side effect from Goku's energy, and this is where we start to change things. When hitting BROLY with this attack, Goku is unconsciously applying the techniques of the Spirit Bomb here, basically targeting BROLY's evil energy. BROLY struggles, but he can't much longer. Everyone else escapes New Planet Vegeta, and BROLY's left there for dead, ravaged by the energy from Goku's attack, channeled from all of his allies. Seemingly this planet is going to be his grave. Goku and Ko obviously return home. The Cell games roll around, because they weren't too far off from this. And like I said, BROLY being in here inherently changes the powers of everything, so I guess we could just say everyone gets a huge power boost by this movie being canon, so like this just upscales everything else. But that's kind of besides the point. I don't really like focusing on power scaling too much in these what-ifs, but it is worth noting, because I'm sure there's going to be a question of why didn't they just defeat Cell that easily? Here I'm going to say the Cell games goes exactly the same, and that everyone's just stronger, including Cell. Anyways, we get to the point when Cell blows himself up, and in heaven, King Kai is looking around for Cell and can't find him. Come to think of it, he never actually looked for BROLY either, but they're more focused on Cell now, and obviously so is Gohan, so Gohan finishes that fight, killing Cell for good. And he's victorious, but that does leave another question. After seeing Cell defeated, King Kai looks around all of Otherworld trying to find BROLY because he should have been sent here and then purified, but he didn't. So even with Cell defeated, everyone is left with one last warning. BROLY is still alive, left out there somewhere. They don't know where he is or what condition he's in, but he's probably out there somewhere. Vegeta already swore off fighting, but hearing this he kinda needs to jump back into it. He was embarrassed by the legendary Super Saiyan before, and he was embarrassed by Cell. Maybe this is a chance for him to redeem himself, prove his might and actually defeat BROLY. As for Trunks, he returns to his timeline and things go like normal there, but he does wonder if BROLY's ever going to show up here because he didn't show up before and he's seemingly not showing up right now. We'll see more of that later. And as for the other fighters on Earth, they know to be on high alert now because BROLY might actually show up here somehow. Piccolo's especially focused on Gohan because he really needs to keep up his training. He's the strongest here right now. He defeated Cell and he might be their only shot at defeating BROLY, or at least their best shot at it. They think there is a chance he could actually show up here because, I mean, Paragus already came here before. BROLY probably does know about Earth. But it's weird. If he's alive, why didn't he come here already? That means he escaped the destruction of New Planet Vegeta somehow. What a freak. How did he survive out in space? Well, Piccolo thinks maybe he got a ship off that planet because, of course, they had to have some way to get off that planet. So maybe he found one and took that here, or to wherever he's going. Either way, they need to be alert and be prepared. He could show up at any moment. It could be soon. It could be many years in the future. Maybe he'll never show up, which would be kinda great. But this might be a bigger threat than even Cell, especially seeing how Saiyans grow after being defeated. A couple of years pass. Goten's born. And otherwise, nothing else really happens on Earth. Goku stays dead, and they've heard nothing about BROLY so far. Piccolo's been training Gohan a lot to ensure he can keep up with his power. Eventually, Vegeta started getting back into training too, and reluctantly he even joined them. He's gonna go beyond Super Saiyan just like Gohan did. He swore off fighting because of Kakarot, but no more. Next time BROLY comes around, he'll defeat BROLY. And one day up on the lookout, Dende senses something strange. He felt a slight surge of power, something that he's never felt before. And it felt ominous, but he couldn't really tell what it was or who it was, so he alerted Piccolo, who then told everyone else. Nearby a small village, pretty secluded on its own, there was something that made an impact. And it wasn't something that came here recently. It's been here for a while, long enough that it's actually completely frozen over. But as they get closer, they could feel it, that same presence, and there's no doubt about it. It feels like BROLY. Something's different about it though, but it's still definitely BROLY. He escaped Planet Vegeta the same way as usual. Goku's energy ravaged him though, basically putting him into a comatose state. As he flew towards Earth, he was completely unconscious. His pod then crash landed here, and then getting frozen over. Even for how strong BROLY was, the combination of all those things was too much for him to handle. It was a significant amount of physical trauma. But he still is the legendary Super Saiyan, so he's barely alive. Unconscious, but not dead. Gohan wonders what they should do next because Piccolo thinks maybe they should just kill him while he's dormant. Gohan's not too sure about that because they'd have to free him to do that in the first place. Although Vegeta could tell he's clearly close to waking up because if Dende was able to feel his power, that means there's something kicking in there. Saiyans are quite resilient, but BROLY seems to be pretty injured. It's a shame. Vegeta was expecting a bit more, but it seems like he won't be too hard to deal with. And he's confident in his power by now. He's ascended Super Saiyan and he wants to show that off against BROLY, so he takes matters into his own hands, charging Ki, and thawing Broly out of the ice. Piccolo and Gohan jump back. Krillin's there with them too and is kind of terrified. He thinks maybe they should have left him alone, but Piccolo's starting to think that maybe it's better to fight him now, rather than later. And maybe he's on his last legs. Maybe he can't even do anything. He hasn't healed that entire time, and Goku definitely did a number on him. The ice is thawed and Broly is freed. He's in really rough shape right now. And even though he's unconscious, he can feel the powers of those around him. It's enough to make him wake up. And the first thing he sees when he wakes up is Vegeta's hand in front of his face, charging a ki blast in front of it. Quickly, Broly tries to move back, but he can barely move. He's back in his base state. He's clearly in pain, and surprisingly to them, he seems really confused. He basically just woke up out of a coma, so he's pretty lost. But surprisingly, he actually says something. He tells him to not attack, which is confusing. It's not like he hasn't talked before. It's just that he never would have said something like that. When he was being controlled by Paragus before, he seemed pretty calm. But now he seems that same way again. And Piccolo's a bit confused too because Broly's energy does feel a little bit different. Like, it doesn't have that same malicious intent behind it. He looks around. He should recognize everyone around him, but he doesn't. The rest of them all power up just in case he's about to fight. But they don't attack right away, although Vegeta's still holding out his ki blast. And Broly doesn't transform either. He just still looks really confused. He doesn't know where he is or why these people are trying to attack him. Vegeta laughs at this. That's rich. He's pretending to forget everything. But then everyone hears a voice. Well, everyone besides Broly. It's King Kai talking to them. Dende actually had alerted him, just so King Kai and Goku would know. So Goku's watching in too, and Goku actually butts in trying to talk to everyone. Piccolo says something's very off about this, and Gohan agrees. Krillin's watching from nearby too, and Broly seems to be acting very differently than before. Granted, he didn't really get to see much of Broly, but he wonders, what if he isn't faking his amnesia? He really seems like he doesn't recognize all of them, but Vegeta still doesn't believe it. But Krillin reminds them of what happened to Goku, and then he covers up his mouth, realizing he just said Goku's name, which would have just set Broly off. But it doesn't. Broly doesn't even react to it. Vegeta takes note of this too and smirks. Does he not remember Kakarot and blatantly saying this name? Broly doesn't even react at all. Nor does he react to the name Vegeta. Hell, he doesn't even react to the name Broly. And Goku then decides to take a risk just to see if this is real. He begins talking to Broly personally through his head. Broly kind of freaks out a bit first because he hears a voice in his head but has no clue where it's coming from. But Goku's voice doesn't trigger him like he'd expect. And King Kai says that what Krillin said might actually be right. He did get pretty badly injured after all, and that probably involves some sort of head trauma, especially getting sent to Earth in a comatose state, then crash landing and being frozen in ice. Not to mention this is after taking that attack from Goku, which probably surged through his entire body. Goku's not really too sure either. He just made a really strong attack with the help of everyone else, and that was that. In his eyes, it was nothing special, but maybe that is the case. So everyone lowers their guard, and then Broly tries to talk. He has no clue where he is, or who these people are. He doesn't even remember how he got here. He doesn't remember anything, actually, but they seem to know him. His name's Broly? Vegeta can't believe it either. He really forgot everything. It's just like Kakarot, when he was dropped on his head as a kid. That made him forget everything. Seeing it happen to an adult Saiyan is pretty crazy, but he guesses anything is possible. He's more surprised that Broly's actually alive. He thought Kakarot would have finished him off for good. I mean, it's too big of a risk to just trust this as is, so they need to test this out a bit more. And maybe it's still better to kill him anyways, at least in Vegeta's eyes. Sure, he's fine now. But on New Planet Vegeta, they saw how quickly he could change. What if something does set him off and turns him into the legendary Super Saiyan again? They bring Broly up to the lookout, telling them that they're going to heal him, and that's kind of true. They're going to heal him if Dende says that he's all good. Up on the lookout, Dende, Popo, and even Piccolo try to observe him. His heart, his mind, everything. Even Korn comes up there too. It's insane. It's just like Goku. He feels completely pure. His energy feels like Gohan's, if anything. That's kind of crazy to them because he was like the incarnation of the devil before, but he's actually become a clean slate. It doesn't even sound real. They don't know what to do either. Despite being low-key traumatized by Broly's power, Vegeta still kinda does want to see it and fight him. Krillin thinks it might be best to get rid of Broly, but they don't know what to do with him because if he really is pure of heart right now and doesn't remember anything at all, that's kinda not really a good thing to do. And Piccolo's about to say something about that, but you know what? That would be a bit hypocritical. He tried to take over the Earth and kill everyone before. Twice when we count King Piccolo. And Vegeta's right there too. He tried to blow up the Earth and he did kill a bunch of people. Across multiple planets, actually. And Gohan wonders if they could maybe find a new ally within him. I mean, look at Vegeta. He kinda mellowed out. So there's a really weird adjustment period where they don't really know what to do with Broly. But they come to see that this is completely genuine. He's lost all of his memories. He doesn't know who any of them are, and he doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know who he is. But most important of all, he seems to be completely good now. But there still is that concern about that power that's within him. What's going to happen when that eventually comes out? Because if they keep him around long enough, surely it's going to come out soon. He is a Saiyan after all, so he's probably going to like fighting. And what happens when he gets into a fight, and then that power gets unleashed? Gohan has been training, and he's confident in his power. He thinks that if something happens with Broly, he'll be able to stop him. Eventually, he kind of adjusts to life on Earth. Gohan shows him around, and the others all try and think of what to do with him because, first of all, they don't know where to keep him, or how to get him adjusted to society, or if maybe he'll get his memory back or something, but it seems like that's not going to be the case. Vegeta thinks it's kind of ridiculous. This guy was such a huge enemy before, figuratively and literally, but now they're parading him around like an old man who forgets who he is. So, he decides to try something. He takes matters into his own hands. He's going to train with Broly. He wants to see if he could still fight, because at least some of that has to be instinct. Even if he forgot who he was, fighting is ingrained within a Saiyan's body. He probably still can fight. So Vegeta tries to spar with him one day, telling Broly that he's not going to hold back because he knows Broly has that power locked away somewhere. Gohan's there too just in case. Vegeta has unlocked Super Saiyan 2, but Gohan is still above him, especially because he has kept training. Weirdly enough, by now, Broly's even seen Goten, and he didn't even react to that. He has the same exact hair as Goku, and he's still kind of a crying baby, so he probably even heard him cry, and that didn't set him off. They would think something with Vegeta or Goku would be a trigger for him, but neither of that's the case. So maybe Vegeta could trigger something by fighting him. Gohan's watching closely too. He wonders if maybe Broly hasn't fully lost his memory, and that demon is locked away in there somewhere. That's what Vegeta thinks too, and he kind of wants to draw that out. So Vegeta spars with him for a bit, and Broly actually does kind of get back into fighting. It takes him a bit, and he accepts being attacked by Vegeta because apparently he does have this locked away within him, and then it comes down to muscle memory. He can fight. He's not great at it, but as a Saiyan, he does have some skill at least. He did kind of fight brutishly before, but he did know how to fight at least to some extent. And Gohan asks Vegeta if he could try something. He asks Broly if this power looks familiar. Could he do something like this? Broly doesn't know what it is, and he learns it's called Super Saiyan. Broly can turn into a Super Saiyan. They've seen it before. He has that strange version of it that looks almost bluish, but he also of course has the legendary Super Saiyan version where he grows giant and has green hair. And Gohan tries to explain the feeling to him. Tap into his anger. See if he could transform because he's done this before. And feeling that energy, Broly feels like he does kind of know how. Like, it's down to instinct. He still remembers nothing, but things that come down to instincts, like sensing ki and things like that, this at least brings back something, the muscle memory for him. He's holding back his power, but Gohan asks him not to hold back his power. And Piccolo asks Gohan if he's sure about this, but he is sure. And Piccolo's asking because if Gohan actually unleashes the legendary Super Saiyan, they're going to have to fight him right now. But they're prepared. That's what they spent these last few years trying to do. Gohan defeated Cell. He grew stronger after that too. Even without Goku here, they could stop Broly again. So they try pushing him into transforming, and eventually Broly feels like he has something. A golden aura surrounds him, and they all step back, on guard. But it's a surprisingly calm transformation. Well, as calm as a Super Saiyan transformation could be. The golden aura surrounds him, and Broly becomes a Super Saiyan. Although this time it looks like a much more traditional Super Saiyan, with the pale golden hair that the other Saiyans have. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What did you guys think about this part? And what's going to happen next if we continue? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.